This project is supported by Quantum Paradigm.
So you've probably seen the name Nano Banana popping up all over the place. And yeah, it sounds a little bit like a joke, but it's actually one of the most powerful and most misunderstood new AI tools out there. So let's dig in and figure out what it really is. Okay, right off the bat, we've got to clear something up. There's been this huge piece of misinformation floating around that this is Google's answer to OpenAI's Sora, a tool that turns your photos into wild videos. But is that actually true? And the simple, direct answer is no, it's not a video generator at all. It is, however, an incredibly sophisticated and crazy powerful tool for image generation and editing. And understanding that difference is the absolute first step to unlocking what this thing can really do. So what's with the weird name? Well, Nano Banana was just its internal code name at Google while they were developing it. But the name totally went viral, even though its official title is actually Gemini 2.5 Flash Image. It's part of Google's whole advanced AI family. You know, the story of how this thing went from a secret anonymous powerhouse to a viral sensation, it's just a fascinating look at how hype gets built in the tech world today. It's this wild mix of secret testing, insane performance, and believe it or not, a perfectly timed social media post. And the rollout was kind of brilliant, really. First, it just shows up anonymously on a site called LM Arena, where AI models basically compete against each other, and it just crushed the competition. Nobody had a clue who made it. Then, right as the buzz was hitting its peak, Google's CEO just drops 3 banana emojis on social media, and that one post sealed the deal. It cemented the name Nano Banana before Google even made an official announcement. Alright, let's get to the core of why this tool is so special, because it's not just a slightly better version of what we had before. Its underlying technology is a completely different way of thinking about how to create and edit images. The magic here is something called native multimodal architecture. Now, in simple terms, it means it was trained on images and text at the same time. It wasn't just taught to make pretty pixels, it was taught to understand what objects are and how they relate to each other in the real world. It can actually reason about what it's looking at. So here's what that actually means for you. If you ask a normal AI to, say, change a person's shirt from blue to red, it often has to regenerate the whole picture, and a lot of the time it changes their face or the background too. But because Nano Banana understands the image, it can make these surgical edits, changing just the shirt while keeping the person's face and identity perfectly consistent. It's a game changer. Now, this unique architecture, it unlocks some truly incredible abilities. So we're going to break down its 3 biggest superpowers: its unbelievable speed, its uncanny consistency, and its frankly mind-bending ability to fuse different images together. This new architecture gives it some incredible powers. We're talking near instant image generation and keeping a character looking the same across a dozen different scenes. Let's start with just how fast this thing is. First up is speed. While other models can leave you hanging for 15, 30, even 60 seconds, this one often spits out a result in just 1 or 2 seconds flat. This completely changes the entire creative process. It feels less like you're submitting a job to a machine and more like you're having a real-time, interactive conversation. Next up is what a lot of people are calling its killer feature: consistency. You can take one single photo of a person and then put them in a dozen different scenes or different art styles, and it keeps their face and their features looking almost perfect. For anyone who's trying to create stories or characters, this has been the holy grail for years. And then there's multi-image fusion. This is where it starts to feel like actual magic. You can upload 2 totally separate photos, like here's a selfie of me and here's a picture of my dog, and you just tell the AI, hey, combine these. It understands both subjects and merges them into one single cohesive new image. The creative possibilities here are just staggering. So we've got this incredible technology, but the big question for any creator out there is, okay, that's great, but how do you turn these pixels into actual profit? Let's break down the real business opportunities here. From what I can see, there are really 3 main paths you can take. You can go the direct route and just create content to sell. You can build a service business around its unique abilities. Or if you're a bit more technical, you can use its API to build fully automated and scalable solutions. And this kind of breaks down the trade-offs. Selling stock photos,
that's super easy to get into but really relies on volume, offering editing services for clients that takes more interaction, but it's a really solid business model. And then building automated systems that requires the most skill and investment upfront, but it has the highest potential to scale, letting you go from one-off jobs to a pipeline that can generate thousands of assets.
Now, with all this power, it's really important to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. How does this tool actually stack up against the competition, and what are its real-world limitations? It's time to cut through some of that hype. Right now, each of the major tools has its own sweet spot. Midjourney is still the undisputed king if you're going for pure, jaw-dropping artistic quality. ChatGPT's tool is probably the most accessible for just general use, but Nano Banana, it owns that perfect spot of speed and consistency, which makes it absolutely ideal for practical work like e-commerce product shots and super fast editing. And let's be real here, it is not perfect. It still struggles with that classic AI problem of mangled hands and feet. Sometimes textures can look a little flat or plasticky, and every once in a while, an edit you ask for just fails, returning the original image. The big takeaway is simple. This is not a magic button that replaces Photoshop, at least not yet. The market itself is also just incredibly volatile. Look at this. Google's official API access costs about 4 cents per image. But then a competitor called Higgsfield came along and did something absolutely wild. They integrated the exact same model and are offering free, unlimited access for an entire year. This is a classic land and expand play, and it just shows you how fiercely competitive this whole space is becoming, which really brings us to the most important takeaway of all. For creative professionals, this technology isn't a replacement, it's an assistant, it's an accelerant. It's designed to take that tedious, boring 80% of the work off your plate, freeing up your uniquely human creativity to focus on that final, crucial 20% that makes all the difference. And that's the most exciting part, right? This level of creative power used to be locked away in massive studios with huge budgets, and now it belongs to you. The tool is here, it's unbelievably powerful, and it's only going to get better. So the only question left really is, what are you going to create with it?